have a finished object. I'm always very excited when I have a finished object. I think this has become my thing. Well, hello and welcome to Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. My name is Michelle and I am your host. Today is Monday, September 9th, and this is episode number 22. If this is your first time tuning in, well, I thank you so very much for checking me out. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It is a gorgeous fall, well, it actually feels more like summer day today. I think it's, my watch says 71 degrees. Beautifully sunny day, and I think we have sunny weather forecast like pretty much all week. It's going to be a great week. Not super humid and hot, but very nice and clear and sunny, which is always something that makes me happy. I have so much to share today. I have a finished object. I have a new project. I have updates in my projects, lots and lots of life stuff. So before we dive in, let's take a look at what Marta's wearing today. Marta has on a shawl that I have had for quite some time in my wardrobe. It's called the Striated shawl. It's by McBrien Evans. And I knit this in the summer of 2015. My notes tell me I cast on July 19th and I finished it on August 17th. So just under a month it took me to knit this. The yarn is yarn that I purchased on February 26th in 2011, so I'm guessing that was at the spa event that happens in Freeport every year. It's a merino tensile yarn by the Biltmore Wool Barn, which also to me indicates that that was a vendor type of situation as opposed to definitely not something that I would have picked up in a yarn shop or online or anything. The colorway is Earth. And all I have is that it's a merino tensile, so I don't even know the blend, but it's really pretty, very fall-like actually. And I was digging around through my closet to figure out what I wanted to show and discovered that one kind of hiding behind things. I'll have to show you guys a picture of my shawl wall in my closet, and they kind of tend to get buried a little bit, so I'm gonna have to pull this one out. I also had in my notes that I fiddled with the pattern a little bit and adjusted the total number of repeats because I had less yarn than what the pattern called for, so I just made some adjustments to make it work, but I'm pretty happy with it. I do enjoy it when I do pull it out and wear it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. On my blocking board, I have a finished object. I'm always very excited when I have a finished object. I think this has become my thing. I finished my Right Stuff by Bristol Ivy. Let's show you the right side of it. So, here we go. It's really long. It's fairly skinny. It's not like that's the depth there, and I don't even know if you're seeing, I don't think you're seeing the whole thing, but that's the depth, but then it's just really long. I had to really kind of finagle this to block it, but I really do like it. Again, the colors are not colors that I probably would normally have put together, but sometimes it's nice to have something a little different in your wardrobe. So there. Yeah, that'll be a fun one that I can wear this winter. I'm a little on the warm side, so I'm not going to keep it on right now. I finished this Saturday morning, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Saturday morning because then I blocked it Saturday afternoon. So yeah, came out really good. So for the last time, let's talk about the yarn. It was yarn that I bought from One Lupin, or I don't know if it's One Lupin or Main Yarn and Fiber Supply. You tell me. They're both on the label. I don't know. But I had two different colorways. So this one here, that's what I have left of my color one. This one is the Eastport yarn, which is an 80% merino, 20% silk in the colorway Killing the Blues. And then my second color was their Pemaquid yarn, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon in the Echo Lake colorway, and that's what I have left of that one. I need to weigh them. I don't know the full amounts. I'm hoping that I have enough of this one to do a yarn cozy. I thought that might be kind of fun. I think I might. And maybe actually I could use the two together, because then I could do the top, I could do a contrast color or put a stripe in it if I need to. So we'll get these weighed and figure out, but that might be what these become to kind of get used up. So yeah, that's this project here. It's nice to have it finished. I feel like I've been talking about it all summer, but in reality, I cast it on July 26th. So it's just barely over a month. But yeah, when I finally made the decision to finish it, it just kind of went. So there you go. That is what I have on my blocking board for this week. In my project bag, I got 3 projects I think I'm going to talk about today. Let's start with my retro socks. Let's see. These are, the yarn is by Hypnotic Yarn, and there we go. Actually, if I hold it this way maybe, right? So this is where I was at the beginning of the week, and I got the whole rest of the leg. I turned the heel, and then I have that much of the foot done. So not too shabby. For my socks, pretty much if I fold it right at the heel, what I end up doing is I measure from the bottom of my palm up to the tip of my fingertips, and I know that's the length that I need for my foot before I start to decrease for the toe. And pretty much that is the distance to the cuff, because when I'm knitting the leg, I do the same thing. I measure from my cuff to the tip of my fingers, and I know that's when I need to start working my heel. So it's kind of handy. I've always got my hand. I don't have to count rows. I don't have to measure. If they're off by a couple of rows, I don't really care. They're just socks. They're close enough. Works for me. I do 20 rounds. I'm pretty sure it's 20 rounds on my cuff. I do a knit 2, purl 2 rib. I knit from the cuff down on 2 circular needles. And then my favorite heel is the OMG heel by Megan Williams. This is a paid for pattern, and I was asked to explain it a little bit. So without going into too great a detail, I will just describe it somewhat. There's a really short slip stitch heel flap. I don't know if I hold it up. There you go. See this part here? That's the slip stitch heel flap. And then you just end up working a short row heel. So you work back and forth, and you work just over halfway across, and then you work back about 4 stitches, and then you just work back and forth in short rows until you've used up all of the stitches. And then you do 1 row, well, that you'll go across, you'll pick up along the heel flap, knit back across, pick up along the heel flap on the other side, and then you have 1 row where you decrease everything down to your original stitch count. And that's where the OMG stands for. It's a 1 row mock gusset heel. So that's the OMG part. So it's really fast for me at this point. I've got it memorized. I can do a heel turn in probably 20 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes, including the heel flap, because that's 12 rows of heel flap that you end up doing. So I will link it in the show notes, but it's the OMG heel by Megan Williams. I love it. I like the fit. And again, it's just one that is easy to remember for me at this point. I kept the notes in my phone at first when I was kind of getting used to it, so that I would have it as a quick and easy reference. But I've done enough of them now that I can just pull that one right out without having to look it up. So, and I do 56 stitches for my socks. That's what fits me very well. So these are my retro socks. Yeah, we'll just kind of keep plugging away at them. They probably will become a project I bring with me to Bible study at this point on Wednesday nights. I got a lot done, and I'll talk more about it now, but during my show and the rehearsals and all of that last week. So this was my go-to project. Oh, I didn't really show you the yarn, did I? I got distracted by talking about the sock itself, but here's the yarn. Again, it's Hypnotic Yarn. It's my Yarnables yarn, and the colorway is Neon Graffiti. It was the August 2024 Yarnables yarn. So I cast these on just as soon as I got the yarn, like pretty much immediately. I think they're just so much fun. Just, yeah, super, super fun. So I call it retro because that's kind of what they look to me, but Neon Graffiti is the actual name of the yarn. All right, let's see. Next, let's talk about my Boxy. Now that my Right Stuff shawl is off the needles, this is the next one in the queue that I'm really hoping to get done. And I think I can get this one done this week. I have a quieter week for the most part. I am on the first sleeve. So you can see, last week when I showed it to you, I had done, I don't know, maybe this much of the sleeve. And I was questioning whether I needed to tear it out because my gauge was looking a little tighter on the same needles that I had used for the body. And I opted to just rip it out and start over and go up a needle size. And so that's what this is. And I think it looks, it's still slightly smaller, I think. But I think it looks a lot better. And I am just going with it. I have tried it on and it's actually a perfect size. I have to do like 6 inches total. So I have like 1, 2, 3, I have probably about 4 inches. So I probably have a couple more inches before I do a short cuff. And then I can do the second one. And this will essentially be done. I think I will, on the hem, pick up with a crochet hook and just do like either a slip stitch, probably just a slip stitch, maybe a single crochet all the way around, just to add this new color in and to kind of tie it in a little bit, because the sleeves and the collar are definitely a different color, but I think it'll work. So that's where this one is. The yarn again is by Wonderland Yarns. It's their Mad Hatter base, and Jump Jump Bird is the colorway name on this one. So I very likely will have another finished object on this one. I had hoped to finish both the shawl and this sweater by last Thursday, which was the beginning of the pigskin party. But you know what? Pigskin party runs all the way through the end of the football season till Super Bowl Sunday. So I have plenty of time to do pigskin projects. These just have to get off the needles. So, all right, I have one more to show you. This is a new cast on because I couldn't help myself. So this was gonna be in my project planning section, but yesterday it was Operation Relax Day. It was the Patriots opening game, and I decided I need a new project. So I cast on a new project. So let's talk about the yarn first. That's probably the easiest thing to do. These are yarns that I got this past December. Oh my word. This past February at the spa event in Freeport. They are from the Fiber Stash Dye Works, and they are their Twinkle Toes, I think. Yeah, Twinkle Toes sock yarn. It's a 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% twinkle. So they have a little bit of sparkle. So oh yeah, it's picking up the sparkle. How fun is that? This one is called Cora Crawley. And then the second color is this one here. And it is called All the Fall. And when I bought these 2 yarns, I bought them with the intention of knitting something in the fall. So they've been waiting patiently on my yarn shelf all spring and summer. And I decided now was the time to get started. So what I have been working on, or what I'm choosing to do with these yarns, now they're all like tangled, is where'd it go in my notes? The Dress It Up Shawl, which is by Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. So I don't have a lot here. I have a baby shawl. That's all I got done. Hardly anything at all. I do have my little cute progress keeper here, and I wish I could remember exactly where I got that, and I don't remember that either, but I was kind of taken with the fact that the progress keeper and the yarn match quite nicely. So that will be kind of a fun one to have in there. And at this point, it's not really marking progress, it is just marking the right side of the project. so that I can keep track as I'm doing the beginning of this shawl. So I just got that started yesterday. I got that much done. I was really tired. And as much as my brain wanted to knit, or my heart wanted to knit, once I was actually knitting, I couldn't manage more than 2 or 3 rows without feeling like I needed to do something less, a little more mindless. So yeah. So this one will come along. And I think it's going to be a fun one. Lisa is a sponsor of the Pigskin Party, so this one will get me extra points when I finish it too for using a sponsor product. So that is what I have in my yarn bag or my project bag for today. Dreams. I do also have something else on my project dreams. Have no fear. I'm thinking of plenty of fun things to do this fall once I get my Boxy done. So you may recall earlier this summer I pulled this yarn out. It is by Universal Yarns. It is their Bella Cash, which is a merino nylon cashmere. Yeah, it's written in different language. Oh yeah, here we go. 6% merino, 30% nylon, 10% cashmere. And this is a yarn that I had picked up from my local yarn store just before they closed in 2020. And I have a sweater's quantity of this one. And I had one thought. I was debating between this one and my long line cardigan, which hopefully will come out of sitting on the back shelf here in just a little while. But a week or so ago, I saw that Locatelli released a new sweater pattern, and it is the Mabel's sweater. And I saw that, I'm like, ooh, I think I need to make that. And I really think that this yarn here is going to be perfect in it. So that is my plan, is to cast on, hopefully, maybe not this week, but maybe next week, I can, I might even have a swatch for this kicking around somewhere, which will at least give me the swatch information that I need. But then I can get started with the Mabel sweater. I'll make sure to put a picture in if I haven't already flashed it for you, so you can see. I actually was able to get it when she first released it, and I was able to snag it at a discount too, which is always a nice thing. So that's what I have as far as a project dream for this week. I have a few other things kind of rolling around in the back of my brain, but they're not far enough forward for me to insert them into this segment. But have no fear, I will let you know as they percolate a little higher up in the queue of my mind. Random knitting fact today has to do with patterns. I've actually had this one on my list since pretty much the beginning. The first knitting pattern book of any kind at all was the 16th century Modelbuch. It's German, I'm assuming, which was a printed pattern collection specifically for embroidery and lace. By the mid-17th century, patterns specifically for knitting were emerging within some pages of pattern books. In 1761, Susanna Dorothea Kriegel published an early pattern book devoted exclusively to knitting, the Striated. I have German in my background, but I make no pretense of being able to speak it. That is something I found on the Knitting Patterns website. I also have another kind of pattern related note that came from the Knitting Place, which is in contradictory information to this one, because this one says that a book by Johann Siebmacher was published in 1611 as the first documentation of no fewer than 126 knitting patterns. So they conflict, but I guess we can deduce from that Germany was probably, because I'm pretty sure those are German names, all of them, that Germany was the leader in knitting patterns or publishing knitting patterns somewhere between 1611 and 1761. Although the 1761, the Susanna Kriegel book, it just says it's an early pattern book. So it doesn't necessarily claim to be the first. So maybe they're not as contradictory as I thought, but regardless, patterns have been around for a while. That said, I think even in the last 20 years, there has been a distinct shift in how we retrieve patterns. I know even in my own knitting world, I have definitely shifted from printed patterns to almost exclusively electronic patterns. I've gotten rid of nearly all of my knitting magazines. I still have a handful of books. I haven't quite been able to weed those out entirely, but I confess that when I'm looking for a new pattern, I'm going to Ravelry first. And I'm not necessarily trying to see what I already own in a book. I'm just seeing what catches my attention. So it's really fascinating how that shift happens. On the other hand, I prefer digital and I use my iPad to store my patterns, but my mom, on the other hand, I know really prefers paper patterns. We both got the pattern, the Right Stuff pattern, this past June when we went to Fiber Frolic. I was able to get a paper copy because we got it free when we bought the yarn. I was able to get a paper copy. She was not, and so they emailed her the copy, and I prefer the digital copy. She prefers the paper copy, so we swapped. She emailed me the file, and I gave her the paper copy, and we are both happy. So, kind of an interesting to trace the trajectory of how knitting has evolved over time. All right, this week's day to day, buckle up. I have a lot to talk about. It was a super busy, super awesome, but super busy week. Tuesday and Thursday, I did my workouts, and I think last time I talked to you, I referred to it as CrossFit, and I found out the actual name of it is functional strength training. So I was corrected, and I want to make sure to put that correction in here so that you guys know exactly what it is I'm doing. Not that it really matters, but that is, I guess there is a difference. I apparently, and I don't claim to be an exercise aficionado, but CrossFit is much more high intensity than the functional strength training, which is more about movement and getting your body to move naturally and in more natural ways. So that's something that I'm continuing to do. I'm looking forward to this week actually being able to do it and then not having to rush out of the house in the evening when I come home from my workouts. But I am enjoying it. So even though I might be swearing under my breath, well, not literally swearing, but grumbling under my breath the whole hour, when I'm done, I actually do walk away with a bit of that adrenaline rush and high, and it does feel good. So Wednesday night, we had some dinner with friends. We have friends of ours who winter in Florida, and they were heading out a little earlier than normal, but they were headed out of town over the weekend. So we went out with them and two other couples, so there's 8 of us, to a local seafood restaurant and had some dinner, and it was nice kind of break in the middle of the week. And then the big thing that happened was my show. So I think I got a couple of pictures that I can put up here. It was amazing. We had dress rehearsals on Tuesday night and Thursday night, and then we had the show on Friday and Saturday. And so it was a really busy week. We were out of the house all week long, really late. But the shows went really well. Our crowd Friday night, the crowd or the audience was just so into it. And their energy was contagious, and we were just like feeding off of their energy. Our Saturday crowd was a little bit more subdued, but that's okay. It was great. We had a cast party afterwards where we all got to kind of relax together. It was such a great group of actors, I guess, and we weren't really acting, but I can't think of the name that I'm looking for, but the people who were in the show, there weren't any big egos. Everybody was just really encouraging of each other and helping each other, and it was just really phenomenal. I feel really blessed to have been able to have been a part of that. We are already looking forward to December and our Christmas show, and I know several of them are going to come back. I was able to get a fair amount of sock knitting done. during either the dress rehearsals or the show, at least before the show started. And then I was on stage at the very beginning of Act 1, and then I didn't come back on stage until almost the end of Act 1, but then I was out twice. But that was my big gap right there in the beginning of Act 1. So I had a little bit of time during that period where I could sit and do some knitting and kind of relax a little bit. So that was super fun. Yesterday, Sunday, was Operation Relax. That was my goal. After a long work week and the show, and I'm putting all of that energy into that, I was exhausted. So I came home from church, we sat and watched the Patriots play. We did have to run to Hannaford, our grocery store. But then I just sat on the couch the whole rest of the day. I took a nap actually partway through. I think I fell asleep during halftime and missed nearly the whole third quarter, but it was a good little nap. So that is pretty much where we're at, and back to school today. It was a good day, but I'm kind of really looking forward to settling into a little bit more normal rhythm and routine in my week. So that's all I have. I thank you so very much for listening. I will have links to everything I've talked about in the show notes below. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE, or please feel free to send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe so you will always know when I have posted something new. I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting!